We took a
Okay.
train from Cusco to Aguascalientes. Aguascalientes literally means hot water.
Hmm.
Agua is water, Caliente is hot. So there was a hot spring at that place. It is one of the most unremarkable places.
Huh?
Why?
I was so
Yeah.
excited. You were saying hot spring, man.
No, so there was a hot spring at some point in time, but it is
Okay.
just a getaway to Machu Picchu. I've heard that the Machu Picchu trail in itself, or the Inca trail in itself, is extremely beautiful, and if someone gets a chance, they should definitely do it. But as I mentioned, that we didn't get it got sold out. It gets sold out really fast. I think it gets sold out a year in advance.
Oh, even the
So
trail.
we yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, I thought
So
just tickets to enter Machu Picchu or something. Oh,
no,
the
no,
trail.
no, even that.
Because it's a four
So
day long trail, right?
yeah, 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 yeah. And it can
Yes.
be done only through a guided tour. So you
Hmm.
have to be part of a group tour. So we couldn't buy the ticket. So we had to opt for the train. The train is beautiful. There is a river going alongside, and then the mountains, the Andes, and it slowly chugs along and climbs the altitude and gets to Aguas Calientes. And then should we go to Machu Picchu now? Are you ready for it?
Yes, I'm the full on ready,
Yes.
man.
So you have to take a bus. I think
Hmm.
the bus rides last 40 minutes. But we wanted to see sunrise at Machu Picchu. And then we asked around that we have भैया अपने को माचू पिचू जाना है, सुबह 7 बजे पहुंचना है. तो उसने बोला आप 2 बजे आ जाना.
I
So
like
we
how you
woke up.
suddenly shifted to Hindi. Huh? You used to at least say,
Yeah.
Hola, bhaiya.
So we woke up at 1:30 a.m. and we got to the queue for the buses
Hmm.
at 2 a.m. and there were already 700 people waiting for the bus.
Wow. Very
And
enthusiastic Janta.
but when we got there, it was still not crowded because
Hmm.
thousands and thousands of people get there. It was still dark. You could see Machu Picchu surrounded by mountains, and the first feeling that you have when you get there is just of awe that you
Oh,
made it
man.
all the way growing up in India, this being one of the wonders of the world, built by the Incas and built by these, stones. And while Machu
Oh,
Picchu is extremely
I'm getting goosebumps, man.
and it is so beautiful, but the setting, I mean, it is surrounded by these mountains. The mountains behind it, I think it's called Huyana Pichu, if I'm not wrong, and it's in that backdrop, and it's just incredible. So you are just standing there in awe for first 7 8 minutes, and then you're like, okay, take me a picture, I just want to stand here, and I don't want to, your family back home is waiting for these pictures. You have to put these on Instagram and everything.
Oh, yes,
But I think
yes.
anyone going there, it's impossible that they will not be in awe for the first 7 8 10 minutes. And then the sun rises behind the mountains, and you have those first rays of sun falling on Machu Picchu, and then it gets brighter and brighter and brighter. So the building that you first saw at 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning is very different from what you see at 8 in the morning, because now it's completely glowing, basking in the glory of being Machu Picchu in the bright August sun. And then we had also bought the ticket to climb the montana. So montana literally means mountain. So there's a mountain right in front of Machu Picchu. So you hike to the top of it, and it's just looking at Machu Picchu from different altitudes, and that's when you realize how high you are in the sense of altitude, and at such a height. And Machu Picchu itself, is at such a height, and it is surrounded by mountains. So it is in like a bowl, like a mini valley sort of thing, and there is nothing around it, surrounded by mountains. And with every 10 minutes, when you look back at Machu Picchu, the altitude has changed. You might have climbed 20 odd meters, but it just gives you a completely different perspective. So it was like a bird's eye view of Machu Picchu, and then you again start climbing down, and then you stop at every step. You just don't want to miss out on it, but you come
Yes.
back. By then it's already noon, and then the sun is on top of Machu Picchu, and again it's a completely different buildings, because now there are no shadows, because the sun is at the top. and it is at its brightest. The stones are also sort of shining, and the the green color of the mountains around is much more brighter. So I think anyone planning to go to Machu Picchu, of course, if you can do the trail, that is definitely amazing, because I've heard people crying because when you hike for 4 days and you see it for the first time, and I can understand if you end up crying. But even for us, spending like six hours in and around the vicinity of that structure is nothing less than moving, because it's
Magical
not just
realism.
magical realism, because it's not just the architecture. The setting is unparalleled. There is no other building like that anywhere in the world, and that's why it is one of the wonders of the world. Yeah.
Oh.
So there are, again, there are three tickets that you have to buy. One is of course Machu Picchu, and then along with you can buy Huyana Picchu, which is the one that you see.
Yeah.
Again, even after trying months in advance, we couldn't buy the ticket for that. But we did buy the one for Montana, which is literally the mountain. It is a much taller building
Okay.
in front of Machu Picchu. Uh, the advantage of climbing Montana is that, as I mentioned, you get different views of
Hmm.
Machu Picchu from different altitude. While I'm sure Huayna Picchu also gives great views,
Hmm.
but we could have chosen one, so we opted for Montana. The other one was not available in any case. And one thing is that the hike is slightly steep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a steep mountain like this, and then you are
Wow.
going around it, and it's just 2 3 feet wide, so people are also coming from the other side. And
Oh, even the Machu
yeah,
Picchu
yeah,
trail, the 4 day the whole trail, it's fin. I think the first day is when all the way up you have to trek. You have to trek up a large part of it up, and then post that almost 2 days you are trekking down,
yeah, take
and you're
down, yeah,
trekking down, and you reach Machu Picchu. So it's supposed to be very challenging, but like you said, very
yeah.
rewarding. People cry, and even I've read of stories of people, crying when they actually reach Machu Picchu. But that's one way in which you can actually reach Machu Picchu before the tourists come, because
Yes.
when you're staying at the campsite the previous night, they stay not too far from Machu Picchu itself, so they actually can manage to reach before the 700 people reach, like you mentioned.
Yeah. One of
Right.
the cool things is that there is a small kiosk where there is a stamp which you can put on your passport, which just says there is a Machu Picchu silhouette of Machu Picchu, and then it says Machu Picchu on the circle around the structure. So yeah, we stamped our passports with Machu Picchu. Yeah, I've been there.
Send me the picture, please.
I
I
will.
want to
I
see
will.
that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
tell us about Machu Picchu. So, what is the story of Machu Picchu? How is it? So,
So again, the funny thing is that we do not know a lot about Machu Picchu, because, as I mentioned, the Incas they did not leave any written records. While their architecture was very heavy on stones, I don't think they put any scriptures on stones, like a lot of Indians, even
hmm,
Islamic architecture put a lot of scriptures on stones,
yes.
but they did not do it. So what we have of Incas are just the stone structures. And the sad thing about it is that when they were probably living in these palaces, they were curtains and wooden roofs, and
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of different textiles and a lot of different kind of materials being used to build up the entire structure. But all of it is gone now because of ravages of time. All we have is the stone structure. There is a guess that it was a summer palace for the kings or the royal family living in Cusco, and they would come here during the summer, in the nice, cool, breezy air of the mountains.
And 4 days of
and
hiking also.
and for 4 days, I'm pretty sure they would have some people carrying them on their kandhas.
Palanquins and all that. Yes.
Yeah, palanquins. Yeah, and the funny thing about Machu Picchu is that, like most of the structures of this kind, it was lost to the outside world. We didn't know about it. When I say we, the people not living there, of course, the locals
True.
were aware of it, but the outside world did not, know about it until unless, I think, 1920s or 1910s, when one of European discovered it and wrote about it, and then it became popular. So it was still the most intrepid travelers who would go there, till again it became wonder of the world, and the Peruvian government wanted to mint money out of it. uh, but yeah, it being a UNESCO World Heritage Site, it is being, all the efforts are being made to conserve it. And again, the feel, I'll repeat my words, the feeling that you get when you see, when you are standing next to it, when you are actually touching those stones, is just of awe, because you made it there, and then you just imagine you haven't slept. You
Hmm.
literally haven't slept, because you wake up at 1:30 in the morning and you have done a hike where your knees were shaking. But once you come back from that hike, and then you know that you are probably never gonna see it again, because
Yeah.
am I going to fly to Lima and Cusco and then do it all over again? I hope so, but I do not know. And then you don't want to leave that place. You just want to keep looking back at it every time when you are leaving. I went outside, got that passport stamped, and we were to leave, but I went back. I'm like, no, I'm gonna have another look at it. And then
Oh
eventually we
man.
had to leave. The feeling of awe never leaves. Just being there is such an awesome thing.